I hate you, but I hate people like me the most. Isobe. This is my analysis on the character of Isobe. Isobe is one of the main two characters in the manga Girl on the Shore. In this video, I'm going to be attempting to make an analysis on his character, and I'm going to organize the video by starting off talking about some of his themes and then moving on to some of his implicit deaths, and finally just wrapping it up with his final saying. So let's get started. His character is filled with a bunch of layers. Isobe's character is a character that's built off the self-destructive nature of all human beings. Just like all of us, he is a character that hates the world, but hates himself the most. This is the case because of his own perception on reality. Our perception on reality is so heavily based on our perception of ourselves. We see Isobe hate people like Misaki for invoking trauma on his brother, causing his brother's death, but he also hates himself for his inability to see his brother's trauma, for his inability to see through his brother's facade. Throughout the whole series, we see his regret and suffering personified in different ways, from his need to be used to him trying to inflict harm on himself, and through his need for Koumi to perform vile action towards him. He believes that his actions hurt people around him, but he has no one to apologize to, though. He has nobody to forgive him for his own sins and transgressions in his own eyes. He believes that he's scum, but he has no one to apologize to, so he keeps on being that scum because he can't relieve himself from this suffering. This is shown through the conversation he has with Koumi, where he says, "I'm not someone who should be having sex and stuff. Every time we do it, I swear to God it'll never happen again. But, like, there is no God." And when I remember that, I end up doing it again, and then I'm thinking sorry in my head. It'd be so much easier if I could apologize and just be forgiven. I don't know who to apologize to, though, and here I am. Isobe's own struggle stems from his inability to forgive himself, like I stated before, and his inability to change his mindset. We watch his struggle till the very end. We see his struggle and how it pulls him down with him. His own guilt being the weight that forces him to drown. His brother placed a curse on him, or so he believes. He sees his brother haunt him through his dreams, and just seeing his brother even though he isn't there. Seeing his brother in the house, seeing his brother around town, even though his brother is long gone. This is a big part of his curse, his inescapable fate. Isobe is also riddled with a lot of explicit depth, but a lot of implicit depth as well. Implicit details that support my statement. In my previous video, I briefly touched on Isobe's hair and what it symbolizes for his character as a whole. In this video, I'm going to expand further on the ideas in that video. You see, Isobe's hair is allegorical to his mental journey, and there's also a parallel to his brother's demise and his own demise. Every time we see his brother show up in Isobe's mental visions, we see him with long hair. The type of hair we see Isobe with as it grows until he can't see properly. This is a parallel that shows the state between that the two of the characters were in. When Isobe's brother went to sea to drown himself, and when Isobe attempted to die as well, they both had long hair, showing parallels in their characters and their characters' journeys. Isobe's hair also demonstrates his mental state, how his hair is so long to the point where it's obstructed his view and all he can see is his own darkness. Safe to say, Isobe's hair plays a gigantic part in his character's development, and I feel like a lot of people look over it. due to its simplicity, a lot of people don't really look into his character enough to really find it. There's a lot more pieces that play a big part in Isobe's character. His character also represents the cyclical nature of trauma. We see how his brother played a part in his suffering and how his suffering played a part in Koume's life. Try to think of it as a recycling symbol. Isobe's dynamics with his brother and Koume make up the cycle. He is probably the biggest part in the cycle, being that he is the biggest part in those two dynamics, connecting those two dynamics, making the cycle. We see Isobe in the middle, showing the middle ground, how his brother's own trauma left Isobe with guilt, and how Isobe, if he continues down this path, will leave Koume with just as much guilt. So Isobe's character, to say the least, is very, very layered in so many ways and plays a big part in the whole story's narrative as a whole, due to his ideas being so tied into so many of the other characters in the series. He demonstrates what the series is trying to portray as a whole. And now moving on, I'll show you how it connects to the final say. I want to wrap this up talking about the final say. Actually, I would like to speak on his character's ending and how it affects the final say and the final say of the manga as a whole. His character ending can be tied into the shore. We see him in his final moments as he puts on a facade. This facade being his hair as well, it ties back into his hair. We see him put on this facade by actually cutting his hair, pretending to be oblivious, pretending to be childlike, naive, pretending to be oblivious to his own pain and suffering. And we see how that goes for him, obviously. We see how he looks at the sea without ever reaching it. Koume reached the sea, and that's her main character's peak. His character's peak is his inability to reach the peak. His character's peak is his inability to reach the shore, his inability to break free from his brother's curse. In his final moments, he sees his brother peering on at him with vengeful, spiteful eyes, and he's riddled with guilt through those eyes. We could even see his final say or final actions as sparing Koume as well, how he's trying to avoid cursing her in a way. We could see through some little implicit depth how Koume is sunburned in their final intimate moments in the series. Koume is sunburned. This may be a stretch, but what I gained from that idea is that Koume being sunburned could be implicit depth, detailing how her whole psyche has kind of been tainted by Isobe in a way. How the negative effect he plays on her life, this sunburn, this darkness slowly etching its way to her soul. Oh yeah, I forgot to say some stuff in the video. This is actually just an additional recording. I forgot to state about another big part of Isobe's character is his affirmation of his brother's existence. I believe that's another amazing part of his character, which makes him such a phenomenal character. His affirmation of his brother's existence and his need for affirming for his own, and how he uses his brother's blog as a way to affirm his own existence and his own brother's existence. Goes to show the more of the parallels between him and his brother. And yeah, that's basically it. Amazing character, phenomenal in so many ways. But yeah, you could also say I'm affirming my own existence through YouTube, making this video. And I guess that's the genius of his character, the fact that he's like all of us. Yeah, we all affirm ourselves through different medias. And yeah, that's basically it. That's my final message. I don't think I've forgotten anything else. Well, in conclusion, there's a lot of things I can say about Isobe. Isobe's final say and main theme can be summed up as the cyclical nature of trauma, humans' view on ourselves, and destruction caused by a lack of positive self perception. Isobe's character can be attributed to so many different philosophies and things like that. And I believe and I urge people to reread or just read A Girl on the Shore, keeping the stuff that I've stated in this video in your mind as you're reading it. I believe you'd enjoy the series a lot more, and I think my analysis could open up your eyes to the slight things that maybe you didn't pick up while reading the book. I believe Girl on the Shore is a manga that everybody should read. Everybody should want to read it and should read it. And the content shouldn't off-put you to the final results, because A Girl on the Shore has left me with a lot of things to think about. Isobe being a thought-provoking character, and some of the themes explored in the manga being very thought-provoking. This has been my analysis on Isobe as a character. I hope I was able to enlighten you on the things maybe you did not pick up the first read through, or maybe I've enlightened you on his character, and if you do ever end up reading A Girl on the Shore, you could enjoy his character far more. That's it. That's my analysis on Isobe. So drop a like if you thought it was interesting, and subscribe for more analyses on different characters. I'm hoping to do a Koumei analysis soon coming up. I enjoyed her character a lot in A Girl on the Shore. She may not have been my favorite, but I did enjoy her character quite a bit. Alright, that's it.